Again, my name is Jan Sahumsky, and I'm Director of Marketing with Gov Directions. So the final thing here is that we are recording this webinar. We will do our best to make it available to you after. So pending any technical difficulties, we'll shoot you out a link as soon as it becomes available. So with that said, I'd like to introduce you to Mark Knowles, who is our president and co-founder of Gov Directions. And Mark brings a really unique perspective to this topic today. He is both the publisher and the consumer of the content that he creates. So with that said, it's my pleasure to introduce Mark Knowles, president and founder of Gov Directions. Mark, hello.
Hello, Jan. Thank you very much for that introduction. I appreciate that. And I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar this morning. And just briefly again, my name is Mark Knowles, and I'm a founder of Gov Directions. I have served in the marketplace for just over 25 years, not only as the founder of Gov Directions, but also previously as the founder of GovernmentBids.com. And then secondary, I serve as a consultant who actually seeks out local and state government contracts in the human resource area, and I would like to share some of those experiences with you today. By now, you realize the government marketplace is the place for your company. It's a place to help you grow. But how will that growth happen? Will you stumble through it, or in hope that you gain a new contract opportunity, or will you prepare a plan to actually succeed in the government space? Today, I'll help you by walking and talking about working smart and how to win the government business, which I believe is a key to working smart, to actually finding and winning new government contracts. I'll actually go through the slideshow using a PowerPoint presentation. We may go online as well during the process. If you lose the screen for just a second, we will capture that and move you appropriately to the site that we need to send you to give you the most information during this webinar. First, about Gov Directions. We're located in Atlanta, Georgia, and we believe we are the leading publisher of local, state, and federal government contract information, and as well as resources associated with that, teaching our membership about how to win government contracts. We serve a total network of just over 80,000 registered users throughout our platforms, using both the traditional web services as well as new social media platforms and other ways to deliver information. We serve not only businesses that are seeking to do business with the government, but those who are already working with the government, and then those that are really kind of in between, in the process of gaining that first contract or going through a certification process. In 2014, we will deliver just over 1.4 million new RFPs to our registered companies. This past month, in fact, we saw the best May since we've been in this space, delivering just over 107,000 new listings during the month, all streamed to individual online accounts that are delivered via personalized email on a daily basis. So not only is the information available directly online, but it's sent to other platforms daily through the emails. Our team, how do we do this? We rely on researchers. In fact, we've discovered that it's almost impossible to monitor the fragmented government marketplace without a great team to back you up. We, of course, want to be a part of your team. Our team consists of real-life researchers based in the United States, which we think is important because they understand the local and state government marketplace here in our country. We pull together information by locating them and classifying each either awards, active, or upcoming RFPs. They literally pull together thousands of new listings daily for our membership. Information that you would normally find on your own. It's not something that's so foreign in how we do this. Basically monitoring individual websites for government agencies, all the way through to local newspaper publishings, local bulletin boards, and other publishing mechanisms that we are searching through. We understand how to locate those, as well as individual publications through our new Reach service, where governments are able to reach to our individual contractors simply by publishing that information directly at our website, and then it's redistributed to the 80,000 plus membership levels. Our agenda this morning, we're going to talk about why information is key. We're also going to talk about how to find the best opportunity within the information that you have out there by understanding first the marketplace, the different levels, federal, state, local governments. Also how to do searches and settings to pinpoint accuracy to the individual bid that you're seeking. Reviewing past awards to help you forecast and know the market better. And then seeing over the hill, knowing what's upcoming. That is very important. Local governments and state government agencies tell you in advance what they're doing. They publish budgets, and they publish their upcoming needs so that you have months ahead of time in order to prepare for that, for the appropriate RFP for your company. And then we're going to talk briefly about the RFP components. And that alone is a seminar or webinar we will actually provide to our membership through other sources, but it's much more detailed. But we want to cover those basics there. And I'm going to share with you some additional resources that help you work smarter. So I'd like to start with this simple quote, Thomas Edison quote, one of the smart individuals out there. And he says, the reason a lot of people do not recognize opportunity is because it usually goes around wearing overalls and looking a lot like hard work. Well, the local government space is some hard work, but using the right tools, you can make it somewhat simple. I mean, giving you the ability right now to sort through 50,000 plus active listings in seconds to find that specific opportunity, just simply did not exist even 15 years ago. It was a lot more difficult. So, those overalls that you're having to wear today, we can make that hard work a little simpler. Of course, information, why is information key? I'll share with you some, personal experience. First, just really two quick stories. First, how we started our own company in the bid sourcing world. We were looking to really supplement a situation with a part-time business opportunity, and we thought, why can't we review budgets of local governments and project new business opportunities for some specific clients? My personal background is in local government budgeting and understanding how budgets work and productivity improvement for local governments. So using off-the-shelf software, we began pulling together information for one state and offering our services to local consulting firms, including ourselves as we were pulling that information for us to go out and actually bid on individual projects. And then it was really lucky us, we sort of stumbled into a marketplace that where access to information became easier by the day, and we grew a simple idea from the basement of our home to a company that now serves just over 80,000 individuals throughout a network who stop by on a daily basis to quickly retrieve information to help them work smarter throughout the day. Of course, one of the reasons we started this was my own organizational consulting job processes that I was looking for and helping local governments and their organizational needs. I noticed that many times an agency would only get 2 or 3 responses on an RFP, and those kind of odds are really good. You got the RFP, the business is on the street. It's unlike sometimes in the private sector where you're really kind of all the time constantly trying to get those new leads. Here the business exists, and then only 2 or 3 individuals are actually responding. That seemed like a no-brainer to me. Well, it was a little hard work to learn about that new business. So working smarter, we were able to learn more about those opportunities on a daily basis and see what others were bidding, and not only in terms of price, but the actual way they're actually preparing their RFPs, so that we could then project where upcoming projects were at. So my friend and I started responding, and lo and behold, we actually won our first gig up in New Hampshire, in fact. Now, 15 years later, we've won just over 100 consulting projects in more than 33 states, doing what we love to do on a daily basis and what we were trained for. So I want to share with you real live options that are out there, and something that can help you understand that there is opportunity that exists, and a small consulting firm in Atlanta, Georgia, can quickly bid on projects throughout the country and win those projects. So what opportunity does exist? Well, the federal marketplace this past year was around $460 billion was spent. And we estimate that the state and local market is an additional $160 billion. A large part of the federal marketplace is defense spending. Once you take out defense spending, it does equal also about $160 billion. So there's about $320 billion that are non-defense spending in the government marketplace. That's a lot of opportunity. At the federal level, we're talking about agencies. They're it's not just Uncle Sam. It's just not FBO. There are a lot of cousins that are out there. In fact, there are 132 separate agencies with offices at 3,880 locations. Most of those offices have some level of or ability to make individual purchasing decisions. That $480 billion marketplace comprises, at any given time, about 27,000 active federal opportunities. So you can go into one location right now at FBO for federal listings, and you can register simply and learn about those individual bids. But that's just one agency that's rolled up 132 separate agencies. So those bids are out there. Okay, I know going through local government classes and as we're growing up that the 10th Amendment, all powers not given to the federal government are reserved to the states. Well, purchasing is certainly one that the local and state level would never give up. So it rests there at that state level and then the local level, even when they're procuring through federal dollars. A lot of times money flows down from the federal government to use for road projects and others, but those individual projects are let at the local government level. State opportunity that exists, there are, of course, agencies in 50 states plus the district and into all of our territories that we monitor daily. Then, of course, each state has its own agencies. For example, Georgia, where we're located, has 126 separate agencies. A quick estimate suggests that there are about 6,000 separate state agencies in the United States with more than 36,000 locations. These include locations such as your local DMV office, the local welcome centers that exist. All of these individual offices are procuring projects. Sometimes they're rolled up into a statewide database. For example, in Georgia, we have the Georgia Procurement Registry. Other times, though, they're not. They're actually issued by those local level offices or at a regional level. Every state government is simply different. In fact, here's a graphic. It will show you that you can find at the Bureau of the Census in terms of the local governments that are out there, the many layers of governments that exist in the United States. In 2012, the U.S. Census reported 90,107 local governments. That we grow literally about 100 new governments every year since 2007, and that growth does not appear to be slowing down. These are local cities, they're local park districts, and other types of information. Because in the United States, I guess we have an old saying: there's simply no place like home in terms of governing, and we like to govern ourselves. You'll find there's 35,879 cities and towns, 3,031 counties, 12,880 school districts, 38,266 special districts. These are hospitals and airports, parks, and other types of districts that a lot of us never thought existed. But they do exist. They've been formed by local area leaders who were trying to deal with specific issues, and almost all of them have their own procurement power, and that they're able to purchase with local budgets that you'll find there that are readily available. It's certainly a fragmented marketplace, but it's not broken. The problem, though, and you'll quickly find, is that there's information overload, and it's a lot of information. And so the solution is to pinpoint your opportunity and make sure that you have specific access to those individual bids that are out there. So GovDirections was formed to help you work smarter. And what I want to share with you today is some ways to work smarter using GovDirections. By now, you should have set up an account with us by registering at our homepage, and potentially have already purchased a product. One of our 3 levels of products include active bids that we currently have on the streets, awarded bids you can add to that. These are documents that are out there showing who's winning the contracts. And then our upcoming product, which basically forecasts where bids and RFPs are going to be in the very near future at pricing levels from $39 to $79 a month. It's a very affordable option, almost like getting a newspaper each day. Here you're able to go into the information on any given day. We have about 50,000 different listings. Sometimes right before the end of a budget year, governments, of course, budget different times. You find dips in the 40,000 active listing ranges, all the way up to, sometimes during the year as many as 60,000 when they're active buying periods, either at the federal or state level. And sometimes you really kind of find those near the tail end of a budget. cycle. So that, governments have money, they have to spend it, and they're looking to get rid of those procurement projects, get them off the streets as quickly as possible during that period. So sometimes you see, little shorter windows of opportunity there that exist, and making sure that you know about that. And you can go in our tier system and you can search by keywords, by industry, or by individual locations. Here's a sample screen that we have, and you'll find that just real quickly, if my arrow shows up, that you can search by individual industries. We serve just over about 120 different industries that exist that we classify our bids in, and then we tell you whether or not they're one of the federal listings, which we provide completely free, or a local, state, or subcontractor listing, which there's a price for to gain access to that information. That's the more fragmented marketplace. That what you're paying for simply is having those researchers aggregate that information for you. You could do this type of work. You'd simply have to have 18 or 19 individuals in your office working for you full time. And to buy into that process is relatively affordable. And over on the right, you found user account tools where you can go and actually look for individual support. You can look at your daily alert, which we provide to you online, as well as through your individual email. Your account settings, where you're actually able to go in and change your individual settings and your name and information like that. You can and set your preferences. And here you can actually search quickly at any given time all the bids that are in our system. And we add literally about 2 every minute by your individual preferences. So throughout the day, you can go back and just check, and the earlier you learn, the more time you have to prepare. You can also search bids by your total industry. Search bids all within your state. That's sort of a scattershot approach where you're getting a lot of information, and it's not as precise. But sometimes you want to just crawl through that. The information is presented in such a way that you can go through very quickly and catch the title of individual bids and see what's of interest to you, so you can kind of skip over what's not of interest. Then you can search bids by keyword, and also only just if you want a lot of lead time, just those upcoming opportunities, so you know that they're coming in the near future, but they're just not on the streets yet. So why is that helpful? So you can get in there to those local governments beforehand and start marketing your product, and helping potentially even frame the way an RFP is issued, so it's they have more information. Governments like to gain information, especially at the local level. And I would stop with that and say that every individual government is different, and you want to make sure you follow the procurement rules of those individual governments about contacting them before you actually bid. You might want to search awards by your preferences. Excuse me? Yep. You may want to search awards by your preferences so that you know what people are actually bidding that are out there. And you can see the total dollar amount. You can search awards by industry, by state, and by keyword. And this is one area where you might want to really focus in on those industries. There you're able to quickly see where the market's at in your particular industry. And, of course, we have a real live team serving you from Atlanta and in Brunswick, Georgia, and also in Boise, Idaho. So you can contact us for specific information. A lot of times individuals just simply contact and say, I heard that there's potentially a project on the street today, and here's the title of that lead. Can you find it for us? And with that piece of information, we're able to very quickly put our team to work for you as an individual and find that location and that bid for you. And you'll see those within your individual account settings. You can go in and actually frame your daily alert and pull that up. You can see all bids by state, all bids by industry, change your individual preferences. You can change your password, and then you can, of course, log out of our site at any given time. Of course, anytime you upgrade your site, your service, you would want to log out and then log back in before it takes effect. Here on user account tools, you're able to go through, as I mentioned earlier, and search awards specifically. I'll really push the awards product because it really does give you information about product and how to bid and how to get your price at the right level. Our screen here for searching state and local. If you go in and actually pull, this is in a sample pulling a janitorial services contract that's available and on the streets. It was, and this one here is actually for the USDA Forest Service. Looking for janitorial services in the it says here in the Washington D.C. area, and you have individual. And what I'll share with here, we source it out for you. So you once you get to this screen, and it's of interest to you, when you leave us and you click on one of the source URLs or the agency sponsor to find out more information, or to visit them online to learn about upcoming notices to small businesses, or even the directory of the contacts that they have online, you leave us at this point and go directly to the agency. There's no finder's fee, and we're not here. What we're doing is sourcing it for you and putting you directly there at that location. So let's just see how quickly how we can find opportunity. At this point here, I will step off a PowerPoint and go directly to the web, and that we may lose your screen for just a minute, but we'll recover. And what I'll try to do is talk about your individual searches, your settings, awards, and upcoming, and show you a couple of those. Okay, so you should have in front of you a cute little swimmer who's taking part in a swimming pool. Here we are approaching summer. We try to give you a point of reference to, what do governments spend money on, and why is it important to our community? And here's a classic example of how community pools serve us, and there are a lot of projects out there in the community pools, and how building pool construction. And in fact, maybe today I'll kind of help you with some of that detail. Here you very quickly you see a general welcome, and you can go in and you can publish an RFP through our individual services. If you're a government agency and you can reach today, we have just over 53,000 that are directly in this database, not inclusive of our social media platforms that allow us to publish there as well. You can see recent award winners by going in and reviewing individual awards that are out there and seeing by title, the date the award was made and who won and how much they won. For example, here's a classification study that is out there for a company, and they were awarded $85,000 project. And that's an industry that I actually bid in, so it's something of interest to me. Then, of course, you can do that by keyword, and you can also search by individual RFPs. And what I wanted to do is, share one that's out there that I actually was bidding on, have an interest in, and I think I have it up here, Jan, and help me with this as we open this up. This is one that was in Fort Worth, Texas. I have bookmarked it, and it was for a compensation study that exists that's out there. And of course, this one here closed in May, and we're monitoring this. Haven't heard quite from this individual agency, but you're able to go through and view the actual bid that was on the streets. And in here, for example, you get a lot of information. At this point, you've left Gov Directions. You're working directly at that local government. The things that you want to pay attention to, the bid number, you want to always reference that. Individual pre-bid conference information. It's important that if you have the ability to attend these, especially the mandatory ones, you have to attend. But if not, it's a good way to meet that individual purchasing agent, understand, and then ask specific questions, and also hear your competition's questions that might exist. And oftentimes they publish that information separately. And of course here the actual appendix for the RFP, and then the actual compensation study itself is available. And I would click on that, and then we would have responded to that. And of course, in this local government, we would be also monitoring what's the recent awards that are out there, and you can see the individual projects that are listed here. And I have this bookmarked here, and you'll find that in this particular case, they published recently who bid, and they opened up and they provided this information online. And you'll find, for example, here's one that's for compressor kits, where they only had one contractor that submitted a bid on this project. And that's the kind of competition I want any day of the week. And on this particular one that we had an interest in, 5 contractors. Once again, right away it seems like I got at least a 20% shot. That's a good indication. And then here we have others, and they'll publish this information so that you can then potentially go out and see what these companies have bid in the past and know where they're at. Okay. And I'll click back just quickly. And then, of course, we have other options for our individuals, so where you can actually seek advice on particular projects and have some consulting and coaching needs if it's available. Okay, and I'm going to go back to our screen for our PowerPoint. Okay, and so you have in our system. We talked about awards upcoming, and now we'll talk about individual pieces of a particular RFP. And we have on our site an area where we can actually talk about the anatomy of a solicitation. And you can go through and you can click through and you can see that the basic information about that individual thing. And I'll do that here. How's my time today, Jan?
You're pretty good. You've got about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay. And on this particular one here, I just want to share with you, I think it's important to see this. We have an article that talks about individual parts of an RFP and how to read that. And I would share it with you. You might want to take a minute to go back, and you'll see this link directly online at the very bottom of our page for Learn and How to Do Business. And this is a courtesy of a company called Government Solutions Service Provider, who provides consulting services to individual contractors. But of course, you have various sections in RFP, and almost all of them are identical in how they're structured and how you would want to make sure that you meet those. Any particular clauses they may have or insurance requirements, we provide those services to you. And of course, another area that we help out with is in business guides and general reports and how to do business with individual agencies. And you will want to make sure you read those individual business guides so that if you have an interest in a particular area when you go through. And of course, another key part of our service is the business events that are powered by Gov events. Here, you want to make sure that you're familiar with individual sponsorship or exhibit opportunities that are out there so that you can put your product in front of individual local governments and get a firsthand meet and greet with individual governments that you may be trying to seek a procurement project with. And I'll leave there and go back to our PowerPoint again. Hoping I'm not making anyone too dizzy here. And here you'll find that information was online. And then, of course, a federal RFP as the same way, and you have basic standard information that's there. And you'll find that at fbo.gov. And then state and local, you want to make sure that you adhere to all deadlines whenever you actually submit a project. Don't miss if they tell you the project has to be there at 3 o'clock. That means it needs to be there at 2:59. Do not once you get a project there or a proposal at 3:01, you can be ruled as past time, and all that hard work just out the window. So pay attention to the deadlines, because just remember that the person that you're initially dealing with is typically a procurement officer. They're not the ones who are actually making the final decision on the actual project. That potentially could be the decision maker could be the elected official all the way to a department head or an individual division manager. That procurement officer is just the one who's making sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and that all the information that is complete and requested is there for them. And what I generally tell you is give them exactly what you want, what they're asking for, nothing in addition, unless they're specifically seeking a creative approach, and they'll tell you that. Otherwise, they want you to respond according to their RFP. And if you have questions, reach out to that procurement officer. They will provide guidelines for how to reach out. Some individuals at different levels may have different rules, so make sure you follow those rules. But if you have questions, reach out either to their business guides, to their online information, or to the individual procurement officer for questions. And additional resources that we have there, the individual business guides and the help center, where you can log on to our system and ask questions and read questions that have been asked before, or simply call our team at 800-492-8523. In summary, I wanted to make sure that today what we tried to do was talk to you about searching for opportunity and how much easier it is now than when I initially started this marketplace. It started in this marketplace some 25 years ago. The old days of faxing documents or even waiting for a mailed document to come to you, 120-page document. It's just gone by the wind. The local government information is fragmented, but it's not broken. Information is inexpensive out there as well. There's just no reason anymore for you to pay a large price for access to information whenever you can get the same information readily available at low-cost ways now. And, of course, there's no place like home. Information about bids that are local are certainly better for you. and we try to pinpoint those for you as an agency. But just in the Atlanta area, there's over 300 individual local agencies plus state governments, so that's a lot of opportunity. And I'd like to close with an unsolicited comment we found on LinkedIn, another social mechanism that's out there in the way we distribute information, from Ms. Saporito, who's a director at Calvi Creations, one of our customers. And she says, in response to a question about one of our customers that we've got oranged out there, but says that that she got the most bang for her buck with GovDirections. Our competition was very pricey, and that's because GovDirections really worked to earn her business, and we will work to earn your business as well. So contact us today with questions at 800-492-8523 or with an email at customercare@govdirections.com, or drop us a social link or a question, either Facebook, Twitter, Google+, or LinkedIn. We're active in all those communities and all those social media outlets. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Jan and try to answer any questions that may exist, or feel free to email me today at the customer care area, and that will be forwarded. Thank you.
Okay, Mark, thank you so much for that. We're gonna go a few more minutes here. We do have some questions, so that was very helpful, and I know it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg here. So first question, I'm new to government contracting. What would you suggest my first step? Okay, so basically they're asking where should they start? What's the first step? They're new to this market.
The first step is really to know your company. Okay, make sure you understand what you're able to offer individual government agencies, and know your capacity. What level of government are you actually able to serve? Ideally, I'd like to have a multi-million-dollar contract with a federal agency, but I simply don't have the capacity to do that with my line of work. So I focus in on the local governments, and where most of the opportunity actually exists. And so knowing what I can provide and how to market and who to market to is the first step. And then start monitoring what those governments are doing. Go out and look at the competition, see where they're at on their prices, see where they're at on their proposals, and so you'll know where to respond at. So you've got to have some examples. That information is out there. Of course, we aggregate and pull it together in our award service, but it's something that you need to see where they're at to make sure you can compete at that level. The margins are always greater at the local level than they are at the higher level, where some of the federal contracts having 40 to 50 different companies bid on those, where you saw here at an HVAC type of a system, we only had one response to it. The margins are definitely better at the local government level. So start searching for active bids based on where those awards are at. And then it's like when you first started out and serving the private sector, your success rate is going to be based on the number of times you actually get out the door and try to sell. So don't get frustrated simply because you've submitted 10, 15 different RFPs and you haven't won yet. Give yourself a 3-month cycle at minimum to try to win your first RFP, and learn from those individual response back. Why are you not winning? The government will tell you, and after you submitted the information about the winning proposals, they'll have that available to you. You can see that. They have to present that in a public meeting, so you can learn and critique yourself, so that you can get out there and then submit the next proposal that will be your winner. And it is a market that's for everyone. So don't get frustrated. If you understand your business and you're good at your business, you can win a government contract.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Let me ask you, as far as awards, are all awards public information?
Yes.
Okay, and so I could find those through our site and also then through the procurement office?
Yes, they'll typically, what they'll have to do is they'll publish that award, and then they'll publish the amount, and the RFP itself is typically presented at a public meeting. If there's an RFP, a lot of times it's a commodity where they're just submitting a price. So that information is not. You're basically going back to the original specs, and then you're seeing the final price. And then even with an RFP, you look at what they originally asked for, and then because the individual agencies are going to respond to the companies that provide what they asked for. So you're looking at that initial RFP as a major part of that document, and then you're seeing the final price that they're able to offer that at in the process. So you don't have to actually get my individual response. You can look at what that government was actually requesting, and then see what I was able to provide those services at.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay. Question from Melanie. I'm registered with SAM and have a cage code. What are my chances of actually winning a contract?
Well, congratulations. You stepped forward already at a big level where you've got your cage code. You're basically itemizing what you're looking for. So you're going to have more specific information sent to you. But I'm going to caution you that you're only at one level of government at that point, and you're leaving a big part of the marketplace out, the local and state, if you're not somewhere else besides SAM's. SAM is only federal agencies, and I'll stress that over half of all spending outside of the defense spending level is at the local and state level. So now what's going to happen is you're only going to be notified of projects that from FBO that you've registered for under that specific code. Now, and what happens is the individual procurement officers out there, they have a list of all these codes, all the individual cage codes. And that individual as a human is making decisions on where those individual bids will be listed. A lot of times it's very simple. A lot of times it's a little more complicated. So they're making choices. So you may want to go back in there and check every day and make certain that you haven't missed something that potentially might have been classified in that cage code, but didn't quite make it to that individual one. So you have to sort of you have to protect yourself and make sure it's out there and in your knowledge base. And so it's not, you can't just sit and wait for information to come to you. In fact, we have a common saying around our office: if you sit and wait for government to send you an opportunity, then you need to maybe find another line of work. You really have to aggressively work smart, get out there, and find business in order to win it.
Okay, great. Melanie says thanks. Okay, a few more questions here. We have Patricia. I'll get to your question. But Teresa is asking: are international companies looked at equally when bidding for contracts? The companies I deal with are Canadian. Great question.
The first part of that question, the easy part of that question is yes. Okay. They typically, though, every individual bid will tell you specifically if they're requiring jurisdiction type of clauses, so that they will tell you if they want someone only local, or they'll tell you if they want someone only U.S. national. They'll tell you that up front. So unless they specifically say that, then it typically is not a concern where they're actually seeking, where you're actually at in terms of location. Okay, Jen?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Teresa says thank you. Okay, Andrew is asking, can you explain the differences in your subscription rates plan? I'm a little confused.
With that, if you don't mind, I'll go to our, let's see if I can go to the screen. To our website. Just a second. And here we have specific levels of services from, the basic registration for our free services, where you can register online. Many of you have already registered. You get daily for 30 days access to all federal government information. There's no charge for that. You are required to register. And those individual listings are sent to you in your daily alert, and as well as online. They're marked with a free federal listing classification. Okay. Beyond that, we have individual prices for how to become a member, and we have 3 different levels of services. Our Go level is $39 per month, and that gives you access to all active bids, local, state, and federal, And you also receive access to special reports, how to do business guides, and specific event announcements. But these are bids that are on the street right now that have been issued by a local, state, a federal agency, or subcontractor, or a prime contractor looking for subcontractors. And that is by far our most popular level. For about $1 a day, you get access to all those listings. Our Plus level adds all the information related to recent awards that we publish at the site. Now, we don't publish every single award by any means. We publish those awards our membership shows an interest in. And we can at this level, you can ask us for questions and about particular winning proposals that are out there through our customer care service. So, and then, of course, our third level is our Pro level, and this gives you access to not only all active bids, all awards, but also the upcoming notices, which, of course, take us a lot more time to gather. And here what we're doing is we're going into the minutes of public meetings, the budget documents, the capital plans that are out there in order to gain and learn about bids way before they're actually ever issued. And that's typically about a 3 to 6 month window of opportunity. Sometimes even further, we're looking at the buying plans at the federal level a year ahead of time. And that's our 3 levels of services. If you procure on an annual basis, there's additional discounts, and you'd save, for example, $168 by buying the Go service on an annual basis, and you would save $208 for a Plus, and then save $248 for a Pro, and that provides you an opportunity to buy the whole year. All at a very affordable option. At the high end here, we're looking at less than $1,000 a year for access to all this information, and presented to you in a way that makes sense, and it's there for you to not only help you, save time, but eventually save yourself a lot of money in terms of how you actually gather the information. Okay, Jan?
Yep, okay. All right. Question from Patricia. Where can we get help writing bids?
A good place to start, if you go to our website, you can actually go down and look at some of our individual Learn products and articles that we have. And here's one that, the anatomy and how to write. So there's one to start with. We do have consultant information that's available. You're able to come, and our consultants are out there, can reach our contractors. So we serve as a marketplace to help them. So you tell us, and then individually we'll kind of meet you up and how to actually bid on an individual contract. And of course, we have our advice product, where if you're looking for advice, you can come to us and ask us specific questions, where we'll actually conduct a business analysis for you, an opportunity analysis, and then do a business and opportunity forecasting, and help you with your responses as well, and provide a critical review. Here we have principal consultants who served in this capacity for you at a principal level, and it's a much more involved process. And when you're out there, if you're looking to actually hire an individual consultant just to serve you, you're looking at a price point of probably around $3,000 to get you started. There are other services that are out there, though. For example, there's something called the Public Technical Assistance Corporations, PTACs, that you'll find locally. You can just search that on the web with your local area, and they're funded by the defense system, and they're located typically on college campuses or a large jurisdiction that will have those, and they're charged with the responsibility of helping you as well. And they provide services that typically range from being free to an hourly type operation for you. Those are two places, or really 3 places to get started. An individual consultant, using some just general information that we would have on our website, and then 3, going to a PTAC for specific assistance. Okay, Jen?
Yep. Okay, great. All right. Any more questions? Last call. All right. Everyone says thanks for those answers, Mark. And if you would,
everybody, chiming in today and coming to our webinar. I think we see people from all over the country here. And just a last sales pitch. If you call us today, anybody would be able to assist you, and we're offering special rates through the end of the month. and then we started here our new June, and we have products that are available, including a small business rate that runs at about $78 for a quarter to get started.
Hey, Mark, would you head back to the last slide, the contact information?
Okay.
I'm gonna do my plug, being I'm in marketing. You know, we have certainly join us if you are not already on our social networks. I want to give a special plug in to Google+. What we're really trying to do there is build a learning community, okay, and really provide some inspiration and some information ongoing. And we're young in our Google+ efforts, but we would absolutely welcome your participation and involvement to help make that community stronger. But we're also on Twitter, Facebook, and, of course, on LinkedIn. So with that said, Mark, thank you so much. I really, I've learned a lot again, as always. I hope everyone has been able to get some questions answered and some inspiration and some information. You know, we're here to serve you. Please give us a call. Shoot us an email. Also, any feedback from the webinar, we would greatly appreciate it. But with that, I think we will go ahead and end our webinar for today. Thanks a lot. Thank you again, Mark. Thanks, everyone, for joining us, and have a great day.